Do you want to have the ultimate control over your life? Welcome to Take Control with Whitney Wells, where we will explore all topics of life that we try and control, what this creates for you, and how to have successful relationships all while empowering yourself. Keep listening and let's have some fun. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 56 of Take Control with Whitney Wells. Thanks for joining me. I hope you had a good week and you're having a good Monday. If you're listening to this on Monday, it's coming out on a Monday. So I had a good week. It was busy yet relaxing, enjoyable. And I just, right before recording this, I hit myself. I was putting my headphones on to record for you. And my headphones smacked me in the face. It was a little painful. Hopefully I don't get a bruise from that. Okay. Human experiences, right? All right. So before I get started, I just want to mention, if you are interested in taking any of this further, reach out because I have free 20-minute sessions available and I am happy and want to help you through anything that you want help through. We can chat. We can see if it's a good fit for going further. I have a relationship program that you can reserve a spot in if there are spots available. There are limited spots. So if you're interested in that, jump on that and we can get you signed up. All right. So today's topic is a question that you may have pondered or wondered to yourself. So you may have thought, I am smart and successful in other areas of my life. So why can't I fix my relationship? If I'm so smart, why can't I fix my relationship? Why can't I fix those problems or those issues that are occurring? Do you feel frustrated and defeated because you keep trying and nothing seems to work? Or at least it doesn't work for long. Maybe it does for a little bit and then it doesn't work. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not your fault. It's not your fault that it's not working. Nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you, and I can help. So in this episode, I'm going to go over what is happening, and I will offer some solutions, some tools that you can use, that you can apply to your relationship right away. I like that instant application. You can see how it will really affect you, how these tools can really benefit you. So try them out if you want, of course. So when I learned these solutions and these tools and these concepts, I was able to see how much control that I actually have. I felt so empowered and I created deeper connection, love, and enjoyment in my relationship. So keep listening if you want that too. If you want to stop feeling defeated, stop feeling frustrated, and stop feeling disconnected, and start creating more connection, more love, and truly feeling happy in your relationship. Keep listening. So to start, let's dive into what's occurring, what's happening. So most of us are taught as young children that what others do, how others behave, the things that are occurring around us, outside circumstances, what people say, again, how people behave, the weather, are what make us feel a certain way. So these things that are happening outside of us are creating our feelings, are causing us to feel a certain way. We are taught that our feelings are caused by others or outside circumstances, outside occurrences. So for example, they hurt your feelings when they said that. Most of us as young children are taught that. Someone said something and your feelings are hurt because of their words. That's what we're taught, right? Most of us. And yes, we're taught this as kids, right? When we're young, maybe on the playground or at school or by our parents, we're taught this as kids. But it's also reinforced and continuously taught throughout our lives by friends, by family, by maybe a therapist, by other adult humans. And while I am sure everyone who has been reinforcing this idea that others or outside circumstances cause or create our feelings, I'm sure that all of these people are very, very well intended, and it's coming from a place of love and wanting to help. But it is also extremely disempowering. Of course, as I said, it's coming from love. They're not intending to disempower you with this information, with this reinforcement. But in actuality, it's disempowering, which I will get to later. So, for instance, while therapy is, of course, so beneficial in so many ways, some couple therapy nowadays has couples make a list of their needs, of their wants, and this list is intended for the other person to meet those needs. This is saying that, okay, if you meet my needs, then I can feel loved and I can feel appreciated and I can feel connected, for example, right? It is saying that they have to do something or say something or act in some way in order for me to feel a certain way. It takes the power out of your hands and puts it into the other person's hands. Thinking that others cause you to feel a certain way leaves you at the mercy of the other person, their words, their behavior. So not only were most of us taught that others cause you to feel a certain way as young children, it has been reinforced throughout our lives, for most of us, in some way, to some degree, right? So it makes complete sense that if we are taught something that others, outside circumstances, create our feelings, and it's reinforced throughout our lives, then of course we will approach situations with this knowledge and try to control the outside world to make ourselves feel better, right? It makes complete sense since we're taught this. So, as I said in the beginning, it's not your fault. It's not your fault for trying the best you can with what you knew and what you were taught and what was reinforced throughout your life. It's not your fault. So on top of being taught that things are a certain way as a kid, and then of course it's reinforced throughout your life, on top of that, and on top of approaching these situations as you do because of being taught this, you also have a human brain. You're human. And you have a brain. So you have a lower brain, and your lower brain is your animal brain, your primitive brain. And this brain wants to keep you safe. It wants to protect you. It wants to be efficient. Now, when I say lower brain, this part of the brain, as I said, is your primitive brain. And it was very beneficial and very useful back when we were cave people, and it kept us alive. It was there to protect us, keep us out of danger. It was there to be efficient and seek pleasure, right? These are the things that the primitive brain is focused on. It was great. It was useful, and it was very much needed. But it's not needed as much now. The things that your lower brain may perceive as quote, unquote, danger, may not actually be dangerous. It may focus on thoughts you have to protect you, but may not actually be the most beneficial for you nowadays in the situation you're in the modern world. For your relationship, for you, it may not be the most beneficial. So furthermore, your lower brain wants to be right? It wants to be efficient. It wants to conserve energy. It's focused on keeping you alive. So if you think something that, let's say, is negative, that doesn't actually serve you, for instance, your brain will want to keep thinking this to conserve energy, to be efficient. So it will find the evidence to support it. Now, this is the primitive brain, right? This is trying to keep you alive, trying to keep you safe, trying to keep energy, save energy, right? And seek the pleasure, which isn't needed right now. But that's what it's focused on in this circumstance. It's great. It's doing its job. It's there for you. It's doing its job. But the great thing about being a human is that you have a prefrontal cortex. You have a human brain. You can actually decide on purpose with intention. You can override your lower brain by thinking intentional thoughts on purpose instead of defaulting to those thoughts that your primitive brain is focused on. You don't need to focus on those thoughts that your lower brain is trying to protect you with and be efficient with, right? You can choose on purpose because your thoughts are optional. Now, of course, if there is a situation that is actually dangerous, then that is not what we're talking about in this podcast, in this episode. So if that's the case, of course, seek professional help. But we're talking about the primitive brain doing its job, but maybe it's not actually a dangerous situation, and it's still trying to protect you. It's still trying to be efficient by thinking those thoughts that may not be so beneficial for you. So knowing this, knowing that you can override your lower brain by thinking intentional thoughts on purpose instead of default thoughts that your lower brain is using to protect you and to be efficient, puts you in control. But as you can see, it's also not your fault, right? Your human brain is acting normally and doing exactly what it was programmed to do. Okay, so we went over why we try and solve issues and problems by focusing on outside circumstances, the outside world, other people, right? We went over how this is reinforced throughout our lives and how it makes sense. It makes complete sense that we would approach situations with this knowledge. And we would want to try and control or change or influence the outside world to feel a certain way. It makes complete sense. And we went over how the human brain is doing its job by protecting you and being efficient, and how you can override this. So keep listening, and we're going to expand on these solutions. So as I mentioned, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you have approached situations how you have been. But I want to offer that you can give yourself permission to really, truly believe this. It's not your fault. Believing that it's not your fault. Start here, because you don't want to beat yourself up. You don't want to put yourself down for showing up however you have in the past. That will not benefit you. That will not get you anywhere. That will not move you towards who you want to be or the relationship that you want. Your past is in the past, and it can only live in the present or the future if you think about it. You are smart. You have been trying, and you are doing your best. For me, it was, I just didn't know what I didn't know. And now I do. And maybe that's it for you too. Maybe you can relate to that. And then once you have given yourself permission to believe that it's not your fault, by having that compassion and having that love for yourself, try shifting your focus to yourself instead of them or the outside world. Empower yourself. So instead of believing that others cause me to feel a certain way, right, which we are taught as young children and then reinforced throughout our lives, I choose to believe and I choose to teach that nothing and no one outside of you can make you feel any way. I choose to believe this and I choose to teach this because it is incredibly empowering. You are in control of your experience. You are in control of how you feel, of how you show up. Always. You are not at the mercy of others. What I believe and what I teach is that yes, they said words, or they behaved in some way, or something occurred outside of you. And then you have a thought about it that made you feel some way. You had a feeling from your thought. Your thoughts create your feelings, not what they said or did. And this isn't to let them off the hook, so to speak. It's to take your power back. It's to fully empower yourself to have control over your situation. When I first learned this, I was blown away. I was astonished, if that's many words could fit into that spot right there. But I was astonished as to how much power I actually have, how much control I have when I focus my energy in the right direction, towards myself, towards my mind instead of others. And while this new way of thinking is so enlightening and so empowering, it also helped to know and understand why what I was doing previously wasn't working. It all made sense, right? Because we were taught that. We were taught it and we were reinforced. It was reinforced and it was continuously taught throughout our lives. But you can't control others. You can't control others. This is impossible and exhausting to try and do so. So often I would try. I thought that was the solution to feeling better. But when I can shift my focus to myself, I empower myself and I can truly control what I have control over. Myself. So shift to what you can control if you want to, like I chose to. Shift to yourself. You can take control and think and feel and act on purpose with intention. Deliberately, right? Show up how you want to show up. Be who you want to be. Feel how you want to feel. And sometimes that's not feeling great. But decide on purpose for you. You can move away from blame by taking responsibility for your thoughts, for your feelings, and giving theirs back to them. So it's not just you taking responsibility for, let's say, your sadness because of what you're thinking. It's giving their sadness or their hurt or whatever it might be back to them. They are feeling that way because of their thoughts. And I'm not saying to speak those words, I'm giving them back to you. But in your mind, you know their feelings are created because of their thoughts, not because of what you're doing. And you may think, you're taking responsibility, you're giving theirs back to them. You may think that seems kind of disconnecting actually it's the opposite in my mind. And I'm going to point out how. You are simply taking ownership over what is actually yours. Your thoughts, your feelings. And you're allowing them to do the same. You're giving that gift to them. So you're taking ownership over your thoughts and your feelings, and they're taking ownership over theirs, or they have the option or ability to. You're giving their thoughts and feelings back to them. And then you can come together to enjoy each other. The most connecting, the most love can be blossomed from this place. The most fun can be had from this place. This shift of where you have control, right? You're focusing your control on you rather than on them. This shift will improve your connection. It will deepen your love, and it will increase that joy and that fun you can have together. So even if you are the only person in the relationship making this shift, that's all it needs. That's all your relationship needs is you. Your relationship can improve and transform all with only one person making this shift, which is so mind-blowing and so amazing. Now you may think, why do I have to do all the work? I hear ya, but why leave it up to someone else? You can be in control instead of relying on someone else. This is the best news, I think. And if you're a control enthusiast like me, maybe the best news to you too. You don't need anyone to do anything or show up in any way for your relationship to be amazing and connected and loving and all that you want it to be. It's the best news. So now, after applying these tools and concepts to yourself, you may also come to a place where you realize that your relationship is human and not much actually needs to be fixed about it. And I say fixed in quotes because, yeah, it may not need to be fixed. There may not be anything wrong with it. After making this shift, after taking the responsibility for your thoughts and your feelings, giving theirs back to them, understanding where it comes from because we were taught this and reinforced it, and understanding our human brains, knowing why we're focused on thoughts that are protecting us and why our brains are being efficient, and that we can override this with our prefrontal cortex. Your relationship could just have those ups and downs, just as all normal relationships do. And once you are empowering yourself with ownership over your thoughts and over your feelings, the ups and downs may not mean something all that huge anymore. So rather than a tidal wave, right? This huge tidal wave with huge peaks and huge valleys. Instead, they are like small, slow waves that you can roll with more easily. So these ups and downs don't need to be huge tidal waves. They can be small, slow waves that a normal, healthy relationship has. So to finish up, just know that you are in control. And it's not your fault if you haven't been able to fix your relationship. You were simply taught something, and your brain was being normal and healthy. And now if you want to and choose to, you have these new tools. You have these concepts and solutions to try out. So empower yourself and take control of your experience. If you want to take this further, as I said, sign up for a 20-minute chat with me We can coach on whatever you want coaching on, dive into any problem, fix anything that you want to get fixed, and see if it's a good fit if you want to move forward as well. I have limited spots for my relationship program, and I would love to have you join if there are spots available. If not, we can just put you on the waiting list for when there is something available. All right. Yeah. Head on over to WhitneyWellsCoaching.com, schedule a session, or you can even email me at Whitney@WhitneyWellsCoaching.com. All right. Thanks for joining me this week. I'll see you next week. Have an awesome week, awesome day. Bye-bye. Do you want to explore these topics further? Are you ready to live the life that you want to live on purpose while controlling what you have control over? I would love to be your life coach. If you're interested, simply head over to WhitneyWellsCoaching.com and book an appointment with me today. I can't wait to work with you.